The Doc and Exhibit Show is back.
Meow.
All right, guys, welcome back to another podcast or a show with the boy Doc and myself. And I think we have come up with the name. It's going to be DnX Show, the DnX Show. I have no logo, though, so that's not a good thing. But I think we have come up with a name. And a couple things to note. We will be doing this weekly. That's a fact. That is a fact. We're going to do this weekly. Every Thursday it's going to drop. We're going to record on Wednesdays. It's going to drop on Thursdays. So be on the lookout for that. This show, podcast, whatever you want to call it. We're going to be talking about MX bikes. We're going to be talking about IRL. We're going to be talking about YouTube and stuff. So make sure you guys stay tuned. I think it's going to be awesome going into next year, right, Doc? Because like there's so much happening with, say, the new series for MX bikes, Supercross tracks, motocross. You got IRL stuff. So I think it's going to be epic. We're starting it out. We're bringing it back. I feel like it's been like, what, 6 months? I don't even know how long. It's been a long time.
We probably should have looked that up, but yeah, it's been a while.
But for today, we have a few different talking points, and let's just start us off. So first thing, Doc, what did you think about Motocross of Nations?
Hey, I don't really watch mxgps. Well, because I just don't. But so I always really enjoy watching Motocross of Nations and kind of seeing where everybody's at. And a lot of those guys, especially the 250 guys that were flying, like, I don't know, maybe call me not a moto fan, but I had actually never really even heard of them outside of like you mentioning them or seeing a little clip here and there, whatever. Like, I know who DeWolf is just from some of his insane things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really cool. I think, you know, everyone was a little nervous with Team USA going into that. Like, how was, you know, Coop going to do? How was AP going to do? How was Tomac going to do? It was just like so many question marks. But I haven't watched a motocross race where, man, I was like yelling at the TV, screaming, you know, jumping up and down. Like, it was so good, you know. Every race, every moto was just awesome. Even my kids, like both my kids were like snuggled with blankets, like, because they were each rooting for somebody, you know.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. It was one of the best races or like events I have watched in so long.
Dude, Moto 1, that race was insane, dude. Like, some of the best racing I have seen all year. And even in Moto 3, I mean, with Geyser and Jet coming through the pack, Tomac winning at some point. Like, I think it was probably the best weekend of motocross all year. I might go say that.
I would say so. Definitely the best outdoor races we'd seen. I mean, I think it's like, I hate to say it, but I think a lot of people were like not doubting USA, but like just, I guess, really skeptical of like I put them fourth. So
yeah.
I mean, I felt like honestly 4th to like 9th even was like not unrealistic. And then because I just wasn't sure, you know, I just wasn't sure what was going to happen. Who knows? Like, Cooper Webb could have come out and did what he did and been really solid. He also could have come out and been like 10 seconds off the pace. I don't think anybody would have been surprised. And Tomac could have also like you either have two Tomacs, right? Like tight in 12th or what he did where he was just barking. And I also worried a lot about the starts. Dude, I lost my mind when Tomac came around like with like a 10 bike like head,
dude,
like
same.
shot. I was like, yes.
Dude, same. I was very, like you said, I was very skeptical because, like, I mean, I predicted them to be 4th overall, so I was very surprised that they got 2nd. But you're right, like Tomac, you don't know what to expect with him. And did you know that was his first time ever on that track? Like, I think it might have been the first time ever for like AP too. Yeah, that was the first time they've ever rode that track before.
Yeah,
so
that's crazy.
Like Saturday with the qualifying race, that was their first time ever like racing it. And so coming out on Sunday and then leading the races, like that's impressive.
That's crazy. I guess I didn't really think of that. Like, I mean, I guess I heard them say that, the announcers, a couple times, but I guess I didn't really process that, like, all those guys have ridden that track, I don't know, you know, how many times. And it's different, but like, you know, I've ridden Hangtown a million times and I could go back to Hangtown and I haven't ridden it in like 10 years and still kind of have an understanding of like what the traction would be like and kind of the vibe of the track, but going to a brand new track and then trying to keep up with myself with like the Hangtown knowledge would be super
yeah.
like
Um,
impossible.
yeah, and for the USA guys, and mostly everybody at the event, I mean, goggles was an issue. I heard AP and Tomac had issues in their first races.
Yeah.
Like Tomac said in an interview that he ran out of like tear off / roll offs halfway through and said, I wasn't giving up my goggles until I necessarily had to. So he was probably blind, like couldn't see nothing. And then AP, same concept. But yeah, I mean, I was kind of disappointed in AP like 7-8, but I said I was disappointed, but at the same time, like he still rode amazing versus all of these guys with the goggles issues and stuff like that, right? So I actually just put out a video today talking about top 12 guys in the world, and AP is my 12th guy. I think he solidified himself, right? But yeah, I mean, overall, I think USA getting second place and 3 points down off first is insane, bro. Like that's you didn't even think about that.
The goggle thing. Oh, go ahead, finish.
I was just gonna say, I think Parado like fading the way he did, going to 14th, bro. They had if he just stayed in top 7, they get second place.
Yeah,
that's the insane part.
That was surprising. I was also really the goggle situation was so strange to me. Like we have mutters here and it rains, and like I don't know that I've ever seen that many people have goggle issues. Like sometimes in outdoors. Like I mean, but it was like everyone was pulling off, or I mean, I saw more pit stops in that one moto than I think we did all year in Supercross. I mean, think about Supercross. I guess it's different because it's soupy, but like we had how many rain races this year in Supercross,
so
and
many.
nobody, right? Like, and nobody's like, I don't know. That was really strange to me. I was just wondering, you know, is it like a weird? At first I thought maybe it was like an FIM rule because you know how they had AP put his hair up, like maybe they wouldn't let them race, like take their goggles off, because I see that a lot, right, where they'll just rip their goggles off and throw them. But then I started seeing people rip their goggles off and throw them, and I don't know, it's just really strange that there's that many goggle problems. But I mean, I feel like AP did kind of exactly what he should do, and what was expected, just like is solid, right? And just like isn't gonna throw anything, is always solid. I mean, I think he got kind of screwed in the third moto with like his start wasn't good at all. Like
also Moto 1, he had the goggles issue and lost 2 spots because he couldn't see.
Yeah.
So and the guys past him did have goggles, right?
I mean, but like considering the goggle issues, and he was buried. Like lap 1, I'm pretty sure I saw him like 19th or something in Moto 3, and then was finishing 8th. Like, I mean, that's pretty solid. I mean, it's pretty good, right? Like, and maybe I'm biased, but like,
no, I think it's good.
You know, I mean, it's not like he was in the lead and then faded to 8th, right?
Or 14th.
Or right, or 4th. That was surprising. That was a big surprise to me. Hurlings was a big surprise to me. He looked nervous,
right? Yeah, he looked off.
Like there was a lot of little mistakes, and then I mean Geyser was a big surprise to me. I
think Jet Geyser won the show. Maybe even Geyser beating Jet.
I mean,
definitely probably was the winner, like the best rider there.
I mean, you got to say. I mean, you got to say Tim was him. Like no, I don't know. Like it was cool though because they all battled, right? Like people would get passed and then they get repassed, and it was. Like, I feel like you don't really see that much over here in the U.S., where, like, once there's a lead change, it's usually over, right? Like, whoever gets in, unless there's a crash or something, but, like, maybe they'll battle a little bit, but once it officialed the pass sticks, it's usually kind of GG's for whoever's in second. But it was cool to see Tomac fight back and Geyser fight, and, yeah, it's awesome.
I thought the track was really, really good for battling. Like, there was how many passes? You know, like throughout the entire races, like it was just insane. Going back, horrible. It looked horrible, but it was great for battling.
I couldn't walk on that track.
Dude, I saw some photos afterwards, bro. They were like 4 foot deep ruts on that track. That's insane. Overall, though, going back, I think one of the best weekends all year. for sure
Yeah,
from motocross racing.
was definitely worth the $40 to watch the race. Which, why are
100%.
those prices so high? But
I don't know.
why are we
I
paying
don't know.
$40 for a weekend?
I don't know. Um, but okay, transitioning to a little bit of our series. What did you think of SMX, like the series in general? So like Supercross, Motocross, the whole year. Did you think it was a really good year this year? You think it was like a bad year? What are your thoughts on that?
No, I mean it was a good year. I mean, MX is kind of an interesting thing with missing a few of the heavier hitters. Like, I mean, Jet went out, which kind of opened things, but Sexton was also like about to be on a tear of I think like Jet level speed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that he would have won if Jet was still there, but like still would have been competitive with him, right? Like I definitely
Yeah.
don't think it would have been like a 24-0 situation, but like nobody else was really there with Jet at the time. And then when Sexton got there and then went on that tear, then it was kind of like, all right, well, Sexton's just going to be him the whole time.
Yeah.
Um, but it was good. I'm much more looking forward to 2025, hoping everybody's thumbs stay intact.
For
but
real, for real.
but I mean, yeah, it was like a good season. Soupy was cool. I mean, Soupy was also kind of a bummer because it was like what 30 or 40% of the races were mutters.
That is true.
Uh,
I feel like it was like 3 races in a row. It was just mud.
yeah, there was a
Pretty sure it was.
ton of weather issues, and so that was strange. Like, that was the first soup cross. Um,
What do you think of
but
the 31 rounds? Do you think that's too many?
um, yeah, like I guess I understand why they do it, right? Because obviously I see people throwing around ideas, and I had the idea of like, we'll just move move it up a little bit, and then the season can end a little bit earlier, and um, that would be better. But then you're also competing with like NFL and
Yeah.
soccer and like, or not soccer in the US, but you know what I mean, like baseball and all that stuff. Like it makes sense why they do it the time of year they do. I mean, I definitely think Supercross we could drop a few rounds, right? Like we don't need to be going to Anaheim multiple times.
For
Uh,
me, I did. So for me, I've posted about this too. It's like, I think we do 25. So 25, and it would be basically 12 Soupy, 10 Motocross, 3 SMX.
she dropped
And
5 Soupy rounds
yeah, and
or
I think
4.
every round, it would be 5. I think
5,
it would
yeah.
be super intense every weekend. Every single
Yeah, that is
weekend.
true.
You can also do like 4 shootouts, East Coast, West Coast shootouts, or I guess not 4 of them, but you could do, if there's 12
Sure.
rounds, you know what I'm talking about. You could do
Yeah.
where it works out, right? Where you could do 5 rounds of West Coast, 5 rounds of East Coast, 2 shootouts. I think it would come down to the wire. Um,
Yeah.
Probably less injuries because you don't have to worry about those extra 5
Yeah.
rounds of practicing during the week. You can space out the events a little bit more so the riders have a little bit more off time. And then motocross can keep that same schedule. And then you have 3 SMX at the end of the year.
I mean, I think as a fan, like I wish they'd race year round
Yeah,
because
as a fan, you want to see it every
the
every
off
weekend,
season's
right?
terrible. But like also there is something to be said that like if it was a one-off event, like take Motocross of Nations, that was the one-off event, last race of the year, everybody was going for it. Like those top 3 guys, like I think if that was like round 9, right? Like I don't think the racing would have been as intense as it was because everyone was going for it. As much as a fan, I'd like everyone to race like year round. I think, like you said, maybe the racing would be better. And I would much rather them all be healthy and all be racing if it was
Mm-hmm.
they were all there for 5 rounds or they all got hurt and then at the end there was only like 2 fast guys at the end of 17. I would rather have 5 banger rounds.
Yeah. I saw something that Pulp tweeted out actually, and he was saying that the FIM. I don't know if that's accurate, but he was like FIM and AMA are trying to work together to do a couple crossover events during the year.
That'd be
So
sick.
that would be super cool because like when we watch race 3 for Motocross of Nations, GP and open class, those are all the best guys in the world, right? In the 450 class, right? So
Yeah,
imagine that a couple times a year. Like it would be if they do 2 crossover plus Motocross of Nations 3 times a year, that would be so sick to watch.
Can we do Superpole and Supercross too, please?
That would be sick too.
Like that would be like top 10 in points, you know, from each class or something, so that like there's an incentive for the guys in 11, 12 to just grind to get up, which I mean, I know that there already is, but like even more, and then just a part of opening ceremonies, because opening ceremonies is sick, but like imagine how sick it is, like, you know, AP comes out in his like on the screens with like cowboy hat, some Kid Rock song, and then all of a sudden he's just like Mach 9 through
down
the
the
whoops,
start.
right?
Yeah, that
Right, yeah.
sick.
And then it goes to somebody else with some, you know, hip hop song, and then they're flying. Like, imagine seeing like strictly like Ken Roxon 100% for one lap would be like, I would just love to see that,
It
right?
would be
And
sick. I think doesn't
Tomac
World
and everybody.
Supercross do that? I'm pretty sure World
Yeah,
Supercross does Superpole and Paris does Superpole.
yeah.
I feel like they need to implement it in somehow with like points. You're saying top 10, where top 10 in quali, right? Get a chance at getting an additional point or additional couple points, right? So that's an incentive in qualifying and then incentive in the Superpole could make a difference in the championship points later on.
I mean, I think it would, right? Like you see
So-
some of these championships come down where like maybe like Kitchen,
Cooper Webb.
right?
Cooper
Right,
Webb
or
last year.
Cooper Webb. You know, Kitchen's like one of the fastest guys, but maybe doesn't always get it done in the race. But like sprint speed is definitely like, bro, did you see that clip of Kitchen? I think it was in Charlotte when he got the whole shot and then like wheelie down the straightaway and like wheelie scrubbed the roller.
That was at Supercross? I saw Shimoda do that.
No,
practice.
SMX. No, Kitchen did it in SMX.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
It was like phenomenal. It was just like the most beautiful thing. Like rips the whole shot, and anyway, distraction. But it was sick.
I think it's just combining our thoughts here. I think the whole series, the whole year, honestly, was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to watch some amazing Supercross racing. We got to watch some amazing motocross racing. We got to watch one of the best Motocross of Nations of all time.
Yeah.
And there's like some rumors that possibly next year there's crossover events. There's some rumors that maybe Kyle Wolf is moving over. There's rumors like maybe Lucas Kuhnen moves over in a couple of years. You got Prado officially moving over next year or this coming year.
Is he moving over just for outdoors or for Soupy too?
It's Soupy. I heard it's full-time US starting after Motocross of Nations.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, so
he did really good too.
Only thing though is he's on Kawasaki, so I don't know how that's going to play a factor. So it should be interesting. Yeah, he's taking AC spot. So
interesting.
Yeah, and there's also rumors that when Kyle Wolf moves over, he'll be on PC or Kawasaki, whatever that team may be in the future. But
the PC curse.
So yeah, but for next year, I mean, we're looking pretty. All right, we are looking really good. I did a video on the Supercross tracks. They look pretty damn good. You're gonna have some really good racing in motocross with Prado, Tomac, Jet, Hunter, Chase. As long as they all stay healthy, that's kind of a major factor, right? But for next year, man, it's gonna be exciting as hell. Like I'm so excited. Even like these off season, like I was looking it up, like what I could do like watch parties for. And I was only thinking of like 3 things. I was like World Supercross and Paris. And I was like, that's the only thing we really got.
Sure.
And then I really looked into it, and we got Australian Supercross. We got a couple top guys going over there with like Shane, Dean. I think a couple other guys are going over there too. You got Joey. World Supercross. Oh yeah, Joey. World Supercross. You have Eli Tomac, Ken Roxon. And if I'm not mistaken, World Supercross is going to Australia, right? For the Australian, whatever the hell that last round is called, the Aussie 6 Open or whatever. So that's it. Like that's going to be exciting. Right. And then just like kick it off for just like fun stuff. You have Arena Cross. Top like privateer guys are going to be in Arena Cross. You know, those get like super carnage with block passes and stuff. So I was looking at it. I was like, damn, we actually have a lot of off-season stuff. But yeah, next year, like including all that, just leading up to next year, man, it's so sick.
RIP Straight Rhythm.
Yeah, all right, dude, no more, bro. Get that out of here.
Yeah. Oh, it was awesome, man. I miss it.
But all right, so that's kind of like our IRL type of stuff. We're super excited. I mean, I think we're both diehard fans. We've been growing.
Yeah.
I mean, like we rode all the way growing up, right? So like we're diehard fans. We love talking about this stuff. But we got a couple other topics that we got to discuss here on the pod. All right. First thing, RD Alive. All right.
Huh?
How did all that come together? All right. You're on the spot. Say as much as you possibly can. But how did that all come together?
Honestly, I shot a DM.
Literally, you shot your shot.
Like I had an idea. We were, whenever we do those tracks, we open them up for sponsorship so that people that have a business outside of MX bikes, or maybe they're starting a suspension team in MX bikes, which don't sell setups, kids. It's a scam. But
just go to Doc's video and watch them,
or just ask anyone else. Sorry, I know I'm going to offend a lot of people, but we don't need to be selling MX bikes suspension kits. It's just anyway, so I just thought like
that's going full screen.
Yeah, that's I open them up for sponsorships and then just kind of let people, like, if people are interested. And this time we had 14 slots, and like we give them banners or whatever, and those slots were gone in I think 2.5 hours. People show a ton of interest, which is really cool. It makes me feel really blessed that, like, man, we have a platform that people are interested in to promote their product or whatever it is, that like we've grown to a point where me pushing my own product is helping other people push their product. Well, in all of that, I was talking with Brown. Actually, I was looking on Brown's profile for something, and I came across his merch, which I had already talked to Brown about, Pierce, and his logo with him sitting at like the Mac Miller recreation thing is super sick. And I just had the idea of that hanging on a banner, and I was like, yo, that would be sick on a track. And so I DM'd him and was like, yo, we're making this track. Do you like want to throw that on there? And he was like, heck yeah, that would be cool. And then I was like, well, shoot, like, I'll hit Bogle up too, because I know Bogle's got his like little, like his company, that, their merch company they're working on. Like, they don't really push it that much, but I actually just text Bogle and was like, dude, do you have a logo or something I can put on here? Like, you guys are being part of it.
Text Bogle?
Yeah.
Text Bogle? I see you, boy. I see you. All right, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, you should see his profile picture on my phone. It's so funny. Anyway, I text him and just was like, yo, like, do you have a logo, or do you want me just to put, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, like, pause the video and go to Justin Bogle's TikTok and look at his profile picture. It's him with like giant swimming goggles. But
I'll put it in the video.
Yeah. I was like, is this what you want me to put on the track? And he said no, but like, we have our company and like the boys would love that. And so he sent me that logo, and I was like, all right, cool. Like, and then I was like, well, shoot, like, I might as well just hit AP up and just ask him the same thing. So I just shot him a DM on Instagram, and I have Bogle's phone number, and we text often, like almost every day now, about something. Brown and I are kind of hit and miss because he seems busy. He's moving to down to Florida, which hopefully he's okay with all the hurricanes
hopefully
and
staying
stuff.
safe.
But that transition's been busy. But I've been playing with Brown a little bit. I talk with Bogle all the time, and AP is really hard. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm assuming brother's got to be super busy, especially during the season. So like, I'll text AP, and then like 2 or 3 days later, he'll like message me back or send a random meme or something. And then I'll get him for like 30 minutes. We'll chit chat, and then he goes away. And so, which is cool, right? Like, I mean, super busy. And so I just was like, all right, well, we were 3 days away from launching the track, and I had the idea to text AP. So I shot him the message and was like, yo, can like, if you want to put your thing on here. I don't know. That would be cool. Like, just kind of pitched it of like, we'll put your logo. This is what we did for Brown. This is cool. And he messaged back like, dude, that would be so sick. Hold on. I have to text Twitch, Jeremy Steinberg, because he owns Dirt Bike Kids, and the logo is, I think, property of Dirt Bike Kids would be my guess, because it's a Dirt Bike Kids merch collab.
Okay.
And so I was like, now his profile picture is AP's, but he wanted to send one of the Dirt Bike Kids things to help push sales.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, you know, we had like 48 hours. But I was like, well, hopefully. And I think it was, there was a race that weekend. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to like message him and text him and be like, dude, send me your logo. You know, I need you, hurry up. So I was just like, I'll just, you know, I messaged him that I needed it, and I'll hit him up on Monday, which was like the day we were going to post or whatever. So I messaged him, and he said, awesome, here we go. Sent me both logos. And so we threw them on the track. All those assets that like we all had, like Keewan had to make those extra because we didn't have any room. But I was like, Keewan, you have to put these, like, we have to make room. Like,
that's like
I told him all of AP's banners around the track were mine. They were all RD. And I told him, just take my logo off. Like, I don't need to have my logo on the track at all. Just take my logo off and put AP's. And then the collab thing on Instagram.
That was huge.
That was insane.
Like, didn't you get likes from like some big like comps?
100% Alpine Star. Gosh, I mean, I don't know how many followers I gained off of that, and
that's crazy.
But that was literally, I was sitting here in my basement working on something, and I knew that, I didn't know, but I assumed that if I took pictures that were professional enough and looked good enough, that I would have a chance at them accepting the invite collab. We didn't talk about that. There was no deal. Somebody DM'd me and was like, yeah, this is cool, but like, how much money did you have to exchange for this? And I was like, dog, what? Like, no, there was no money exchanged. It was, I had the idea, well, like, man, if we just take good pictures. So I paid Brightside
Shots
to
of Bright.
go in. He's the GOAT. Period.
He makes really good photos. When we did our tracks, I used Brad as well.
He's insane. So I hit Brightside up, and I had him make photos for like just the track. And then I said, listen, I need a whole nother set I'll pay you for just taking photos of AP, Bogle, and Brown stuff, like, and really cook, like, make them as visually appealing as possible. So he went and did that. I posted the regular track, and then right after it, I just posted these pictures of those guys and just did a thank you and just shot the shot and invited them all to collab.
That's sick.
Plus, AP didn't even like it and just accepted the collab. And then, like, I'm assuming he was like in the middle of something, because, I mean, I posted it here at my desk, did something else on my computer for like 5 minutes, and by the time I walked around the corner in my room here, he had accepted it. I was walking up the stairs. And,
that's crazy.
But like, he didn't like it or comment or anything. Like, he just like accepted the collab. I'm assuming he just like accepted the collab and just like threw his phone and then like went on with his day. Like, but he didn't do anything. And then I was like losing my mind, right? Like, there's no way. The ReaperDoc X Aaron Plessinger thing at the top of it, because at the time it was just me and him, like, I screenshot that.
I was about to say, you better have screenshotted that.
I was just like, dude, like, I don't know what this is. And then, like, I'm upstairs talking to my wife. We're both like freaking out, like, what is happening? And then Brown accepts his. And I was like, what? And then Bogle accepted his. And like, I don't know. I sent them all a huge message. Like, you guys have no idea, like, how much that meant for. It was a very, like, we made it moment, you know, after years and years and years and years and years of effort. And I cannot tell you how many countless nights of sleeping or not sleeping and grinding, and just to have some little recognition of like, we see what you're doing and it's cool and we want to be a part of it was really, really big. It was
like sick. I know exactly what you mean too. Like, I feel like both of us, we've been grinding our butts
So
off
much.
all year long. And just like with your post, like I just posted a random whip video, bro, and I was just like, I'm on some Patrick Evans type shit. He literally commented, he's like, yeah, I like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
damn. I was like, okay. Like,
It
just those tiny little things mean like the world to us. Like, you know what I mean? It's so sick to see like the hard work, although it's
yeah,
very, very tiny,
sure.
like somewhat paying off. You know what I mean?
I think, because somebody commented on my YouTube video where I was talking about this, and they're like, "It's just people, dude. Like, don't don't idolize them or whatever." And I was like, it's not about the idolization of a human. It's more just like, have you ever worked for anything like for years with, and like, don't get it twisted. The numbers may be big next to my name or in your name, but like, we're not making a ton of money, right? Like, there is not a lot of return, and the amount of return that we do get monetarily compared to the amount of hours I put in, like, no. Like, it is not worth, right? And
Nope.
but I have believed in what we're doing, and I have pursued and I have persevered and not given up. And it was just like a cool validation moment of like, man, at least, like, this is cool. This is something I would have never been able to achieve. Like, just even interacting with them. Like, yeah, Justin Bogle's phone number, right? And like
Yeah.
texting Aaron Plessinger, like, maybe, like, these are guys that I have watched on TV and been a fan of and looked up to in some way or another. And McElrath too. Like, McElrath has been such a like inspiration to me as a godly man, um, for years. And now to be hanging out with them, it's just cool. Like, I think anybody in anybody, you take those comments where people are like, oh, you're making too big of a deal, you put them in our shoes, that you work for 4 years or 5 years or whatever for something, and then you get that back. Like, it's a cool feeling, man. Like, it's like, wow, okay, well, I
Yeah.
haven't just been doing nothing.
Yeah. Like, I don't think it's idolizing at all. I think
Yeah,
what you're saying, it's all of our hard work
yeah,
actually getting appreciated. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Like, uh, that's like, it's these guys that we look up to. Like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
all these professional motocross riders that we wanted to become one day, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
And now, like, we're doing our own lane, and them recognizing our lane is like so sick, right?
yeah, yeah,
So I think it's so sick what you are working with those guys. I think that's so freaking cool.
yeah.
And like you said, if anybody comments that and then they are in your shoes, they're gonna be out of this
Sure,
world. Like,
sure.
you're just going to be out of this world. Like, you're gonna be so excited. Like, I actually remember the first time, because we did Superpole videos. I think it was 2 years ago now.
Mhm.
Like, we've been doing them a
Yeah, it's
lot.
been a
I've been
while.
posting like on TikTok and stuff, and I remember the one at I think it was Atlanta. I had the perfect lap, and I was going so good. I was about to win it, go through the whoops, and I crash and I sell. I choke so hard. All right. And then the boy AP comments on it and says, yeah, those things are definitely tough. I'm like, I literally screenshot it. I sent it to my sister. I was
Yeah,
like, oh
yeah,
my God, look at this.
yeah,
Like, because those are the guys like we kind of like look up to.
yeah.
And like, it's just cool to see, like, hey, they recognize what we're doing. And I think it's just so cool.
For me, it's also like a recognition almost of like brand recognition and professionalism, right? Because those guys have been in that space, and like, now, I guess, as not in their shoes as far as like size wise, but like as someone in the public eye that has grown a lot, that has a lot of followers, like, you really have to be careful who you interact with, right? Because the way that people interact with you back, it can be very strange, right? And so I think, like, this is a whole side topic, but like, it's when people talk about when people they blow up or they do really well on social media, that they switch up because they stop talking to this person or they act different. Like, I think a lot of that has to do with just managing a community of a large size and like how you're perceived in the public eye and is like it changes. And I think for me, it's just like it's almost a respect thing back and forth of like when, especially like following, like that's a big deal. And I think they know that it's a big deal that they just recognize the work and the brand and the commitment to achieving something.
Mhm.
You know, I mean,
And
like
I feel like they know what it takes too. Like, although our paths are way different, right? So,
true,
for example, they work their whole entire lives to become Supercross guys, right? Like, while others, we've been working maybe not our whole entire life,
true,
but they can see that hard work from like our community can
true.
see our hard work from day one, right?
Yeah,
5 years, 6 years, 4 years, it doesn't matter how long, they can see how much hard work we are. And I feel like the Supercross guys can also see that if like they go and follow you and then they start seeing through your products, or not products, but your
yeah,
content, they'll see a bunch, man. Like it goes back
sure.
years and years and years, so they can kind of relate to that. And so like I think like what you're saying, it's like kind of like a respect thing, you know?
I also think that like in content, like people just think, and certainly you can do this where like you post something and it blows up and you gain like millions of followers or whatever, you know, and you're kind of good for nothing. But I don't, I mean, hey, but I mean, like what we're doing is different in a sense because I mean, at least for me, I haven't really had a lot of pop off videos, you know, and like it has been like um, consistent growth and effort and adapting to different things and learning. And I know that I treat people different now after being like hitting 100,000 followers or whatever. Like I know what it takes when I see somebody else that with 100,000 followers or 200,000. Like, dang, those guys are grinders. Like nobody,
Yep.
like they work hard, right? Like, and I
Yep.
respect them a lot more for that achievement than when before I was in content. It's like, bro, like this guy just makes COD videos, you know, like,
Yeah, yeah, like
like
I could do that.
no,
Like
no, no, you know, and
yeah.
and like again, not to even kind of say that this is as difficult as Supercross or Motocross because it's not, but like it is difficult. This is the hardest job I've ever had, and not from the perspective of. I mean, I do get to get up whenever I want. I can turn my hours off whenever I want. Like it's way easier than that. But like to remain relevant and ahead of the game, and especially in a game like bikes where there's nothing going on and you have to be unique and different every day
I think
for
it's like
years.
you have to be mentally strong for content, no matter what genre that you're in.
Sure.
Like if you just have a lapse of judgment, not even a lapse of judgment, but like if you just get into your head too much,
Sure.
you will start to see a decline. So you really got to just like turn that off and just be mentally strong. Like, hey, I'm doing the right thing every single day and just continuously get better. And you will see that growth. Like you're saying, like you see
Yeah.
the growth. You can see what happens. For myself too, I mean, I struggle with it. I mean, you know, I struggle
Yeah.
with it
Yeah.
all
We
the
talk a
time,
lot.
right? So like you helping me be mentally strong is where we're going to go, you know, like where I'm going to
Yeah.
go. So I think the mental side of it is huge and definitely one of the hardest things about content.
Yeah. I mean, I talk to a lot of small creators. I try to go on TikTok and gosh, dude, there are so many flipping
Dude, I don't
TikTok
know,
streamers
like
now.
where did that all come from,
What
bro?
are we
After
doing?
1 month, I saw like 20,000. I was like, who
Yeah.
the heck? Like what?
I It's like a joke now. At night, I'll get on my phone. My kids put my kids to bed, and I'll be scrolling on my phone. And now I tell my wife, "Okay, we're gonna count TikTok streamers," and I'll be like, "One, two," you know, and I
It's
just scroll as fast as I
crazy.
can. But like, I talk to a lot of them, and like the point that I try to get across to them is like, guys, like it is years of effort and understanding what's going wrong, what is working. Also, stop streaming only. Stop it. You TikTok
You
people, like
have to
stop
make
it.
content. You
You stop
have
it.
to make
Dude,
posts.
I'm about to make like a public service announcement video to the MX bike community. Like, please don't go live all week and just make content and then see how it was for you. You know, like
I
eh,
like going
I
for
don't know.
that. I feel like even COD guys, like they'll go live, but what else are they doing? They're posting from their live
Yeah, yeah.
streams. Like that's what they need to start doing. Like just posting clips, posting random shit. It doesn't even matter what they
Sure.
post. They just need to post it so that it gets out to the public, because not everybody's going to see a live stream, but you can
Yeah.
have a post that goes viral over something so
Sure.
stupid, right? And
I
so
mean, look at Queso or Sketch or, you know, like those guys, like they went from 100 viewers to thousands overnight almost because of
and it was just
TikTok.
because random stupid clips like queso, I can name all these burgers from like all the restaurant. Like, dude, like what? Like
That's a 10 out of 10 clip, by the way.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like one random clip, and obviously that's not where he like started, but
Sure.
like just that one random clip probably gained over tens of millions of views, right? So
I mean, like the thing, I don't know, I push this all the time to you, but like the thing is like brand, right? And people might not think that Queso has a brand. Queso has a brand,
yeah,
right? Like Queso is known, like when you think of Queso, you think of the exact style of content that he makes that nobody else can make.
yep.
And this is the thing that like whenever I talk to these other guys in MX Bikes community, and this is a whole rabbit trail we've gone on, but here we are.
It's fine. That's what it's a podcast for, baby.
We're here. But like I talk to these guys about like, you know, bikes and how to grow. And I mean, I talk to you, and like that's the thing, man. You got to do something unique. And it doesn't have to be, you know, because I think when you say unique, people are like, okay, well, I'm going to do my intro this way, or I'm going to do a video type this way. But it's like, no, what about your personality do you bring to the table that Doc doesn't or that X doesn't? And for me, when I started, I was in management before I did this, and I taught a lot of people how to do a lot of things. And I found through the years that maybe I feel like I'm blessed with being able to explain things well. And that's why I went the how-to route, because that was something I thought I was able to articulate and explain things in a more like homeschool level manner, because I'm also an idiot, right? And so like I felt like I could explain it to like not
yeah, you could
smart
explain it to everybody.
yeah, but it also makes sense. And then I was like, well, if I just learn about bikes, then I'll have a lot of knowledge, but I'll be able to explain it on a third grade level, like my brain works. And that's how I started growing a following, which basically just off of teaching people. But
Yeah.
like your background's different, and like this is great because like I can't do what you do with your reaction stuff to the IRL stuff and your analytical breakdowns. Like that won't work for me. My brain doesn't work like that.
I don't know how how much analytical stuff goes into it.
But I mean, like that's a level of interest that you have that like I don't have. Like I already told you, like I ain't watching MXGP. Like I love the sport, and if it's on, but like I'm probably not going out of my way to watch. I'll probably watch Aussie now because Shane's over there, but like that's different than me, and that's something that you bring to the table that I don't bring to the table. And that's why, you know, I pushed you for so long to go into that, was because I felt like that was a skill level that you had that Troy didn't have, that I didn't have, that Linz didn't have, and it just fits your personality well. And well, now look at your stuff, you know.
Hey, I don't know the reaction, because I just posted it instantly after the race. I don't even think highlights came out yet, and now it's already done.
But even that, like that commitment to that, like you want to do that, you like that, but like it's different. And I'm not doing it. Linz isn't doing it. Troy's not doing it, you know, and Smokes is not doing it. None of these guys are doing it. And it's a great niche for you. And that doesn't mean that, you know, and what's cool is about that is I think you kind of created like this bridge between bikes into that niche, and somebody can piggyback off of that. And now there's like a whole new niche, right? Because like, oh, we could do what X is doing, but I'm going to do it in my own way.
Yeah.
Right. And then now this other creator can have their content, you know. It's just,
yeah, like for me, like I am grateful that you pushed that to me, because I loved it from the beginning. I just didn't have I would say I didn't have a following, right? So it was hard for me to just go and do all that. But you pushing me to post that stuff and continuously do it. And I mean, we've been doing our reactions on TikTok and stuff like that, right? But never like long form videos and IRL and breakdowns and analytics, stuff like that. But you are right. Like I'm trying to build a bridge between IRL and MX bikes, or just motocross games in general.
Yeah.
And I think we have really done that. Like for me, I'm going to be mainly focusing on IRL for long form, but I'm still going to be posting the short form stuff on like the motocross games because that's also a passion of mine. Why would I stop doing that when I already have a fan base that loves all that stuff? And then they also have a fan base of reaction. So like you start mixing that into like each other, people are going to be recognizing, oh, there's a race this week and we're going to see reactions. Like, okay, now we're going to see some bikes this week, or you know what I mean? So like that bridge I think is pretty sick. And like you're saying, I don't really think too many people are doing that. Like how I want to do it is similar to like reviews and just like talking about what I thought and like my opinions and stuff like that, predictions. There's not too many people doing that. I would say there's podcasts and motocross podcasts, but there's not people making the content that I'm trying to do in this niche, right? There's probably other sports and stuff, obviously, but for motocross alone, I don't personally see that, which I think is great. I think it adds a different like dynamic to the sport, which I think is necessarily needed, right? I think it will build a fan base for that gap, right? Now people are going to watch my stuff long form, be like, oh, what is he doing on short form? Oh, okay, I can go to his short form stuff. Oh, let me see what he does long form, and it just kind of bridges it, right? Which I'm very grateful that you pushed me to do that because, as you mentioned, Motocross of Nation, it was straight up.
That was a good day.
Yeah, that was a great day. That was a good day.
I mean, I think it's just a combination of like being yourself in content, right? Like you have to be true to like your passions, your personality, who you are. But like there is also like I think people get lost in that, right? Well, like, oh, I'm just going to be myself and I don't really want to talk and so I'm not going to, or I don't really want to make that kind of content because I don't want to. And like if you really want to grow, you have to look at like a business in my opinion, and like you have to understand that like you have to make business decisions when they're hard. Like as much as I leaned into the tutorial kind of stuff, that's not what I wanted to make. Right? Like I didn't want to do that, but I knew that that was the right choice and that would get me farther along. And now I'm making random green screen videos that are like
those are
and
awesome, bro.
They're doing really well. And I love
awesome.
that, right? And so like there's stages of this stuff, right? Where you have to make educated decisions of for me to get from 0 followers to 100 followers is a lot different than for me to get from 100,000 followers to 200,000 followers, right? Like the decisions you make, or from 100,000 to, or from 100 followers to 500, you might have to switch it up. And like, I think this is all the challenge of content is why we started about this, is it is not as simple as just clicking stream. Any successful streamer has gone through these challenges of navigating each like hurdle of being a content creator, all while still posting every day, multiple times a day if you're a psychopath.
Look at the top guys. What do they do consistently? They stream and they post 1 to 2 times a day. Like it's necessary at this time of, I guess it's necessary in this age. Maybe 5-6 years ago, it wasn't necessary, right? But with how much you are scrolling, you're like literally everybody has TikTok brain. So like if you're not popping up, you're not gonna continuously grow, right? There's always a couple of people that don't necessarily do that. The one person I can think of is like Jev, right? I don't think he posts any TikTok, but I have seen people post his stuff on TikTok. So it's like,
but it's
you know
also,
what I mean?
It's also like there are different rules that pertain to you based off of where you're at in your career, right? Like for instance, Tim the Tapman better be putting his face on every single thumbnail because it's Tim the Tapman, right? That doesn't apply to me, right?
Doesn't really apply to me either, because
I'm not as known. The reason you put thumbnail or faces on thumbnails is because it's a recognizable face. Now, within MX bikes, could I put my face and that be helpful? Yeah, sure. But like again, trying to reach outside of that, my point is like the rules change, and I think people look at like Tim or all the really big guys, right? They look at the Jevs. Jev doesn't have to post on TikTok because he doesn't have to, because he's got millions and millions of followers that he's built over like
10 years,
11 years, right? You know, it's like, so he built that on one platform. He doesn't need to, but he has the privilege, if you will, or he earned more likely that he doesn't need to do that because he has his audience, right?
Yep.
And Tim, yeah, he can just slap his face on a thumbnail and people are going to click on it. But Tim also was nobody 11 years ago, right? And was streaming on Justin TV to nobody, right? And then he had to do all the things we're doing to get to that point of recognition. And
I think some guys, say for Queso, for example, sometimes it does get lucky. Sometimes you do get lucky, right? And you just hit that growth super fast. Sometimes it's a journey. And for me, I've mentioned this to you. Like, I love the journey, man. Like, I really love trying to get better at what I do. You go back and watch my shit like from like 4 years ago, you will cry at how bad it is, man. It is so bad.
Same.
But like, I go back and I'm like, damn, I'm so much better. Like, I just posted a video today. I'm like, I was like, I did a lot of editing for this. It might be simple, but I did like, I'm like, I'm proud of that. Cause like, I actually like put the time and effort into trying to make something that's very, very good. And, like, it doesn't happen sometimes. It happens overnight sometimes, but it doesn't. It's a grind.
It can happen overnight, but even like to manage it popping off, like if I had a TikTok hit 20 million views and my TikTok went from 60,000 to 2.5 million, but they all only saw that one video, it is still a skill for me to continue to deliver on what made that go viral, right? Like, how many TikTok accounts do you click on where they have 40,000 followers and they have like 3 posts that went like mega viral, and then everything else is at like 100 views, right?
Yeah.
And it's everyone wants this like overnight success, but like you can't manage that. You don't know how to manage the overnight success because you don't know why you went successful, right?
And,
like you don't know why that TikTok hit 10 million views overnight.
And I will say too, like, if you do have a viral clip, like to your point, see why it went viral and replicate it until it doesn't go viral anymore. Because TikTok will post and will push the same content over and over and over. I forgot his name off the top of my head, but there's so many people that I see do the same exact concept every single video, and every single video pops off. So like, if you have a viral clip, do the same thing.
But even in that, right? Like if Timmy posts MX Bikes clip and it hits 20 million views, like I can almost bet you Timmy doesn't know why, right? And so he could post the same thing. And this isn't just MX Bikes creators, this is just everybody. And my point is like the journey is learning that. It's not luck, right? Like it can be, but I think it's a skill. Like you can pop off, but the skill to replicate that is very difficult, right? You know, I've had a couple TikToks hit, you know, close to 2 million or whatever. A couple.
A couple out of 4 years, right?
Yeah, out of like thousands of videos, right? But like, and I have literally remade that exact same video, posted at the same time of day, everything, and it didn't pop off. But through the years, I've learned, like, I mean, colors of my gloves, the audio that's used, the words I said, the tone of voice. And now it's becoming more and more consistent where like I have enough knowledge to hit a certain amount consistently. And then sometimes I either fail and it doesn't do very well, or sometimes I exceed and it goes crazy. And both of those are learning experiences. And then I can add that to my book of, you know, learning. And then hopefully that helps us grow a little bit more, you know.
Also say like, don't be afraid to fail, right? Like if you get a video that does 100 views, post one tomorrow. Like it does not matter, man. Like see what you did and like see what you can get better at, obviously, right? But don't be afraid to keep posting. Like, you know how many times like I posted a video back in the day and it didn't do nothing, but I didn't stop. I just love what I was doing. And so that's what I'll say. I'll just keep posting nonstop.
Somebody told me back in the day when I first started and I was like worried about, or I was just watching, reading something or watching something. And they said like, the good thing about posting videos that don't get any views is nobody watches them. And so like, just keep posting and learning from them. And eventually people will start watching, but like, you don't have to be embarrassed by your video that got 10 views because nobody watched it.
That's
So,
a good fact. Holy crap! I didn't even think about that.
Like, it is what it is, right? Like, you
Yeah.
post a video, doesn't get any views. Hey, nobody saw, bro. It's all right.
Yeah, that's so
like,
true.
it's all good.
Um,
But
I think wrapping this up because we went on a pretty
yeah,
long
my bad.
tangent. No, I love it. Like, this is what this podcast is gonna be about, man. It's just two friends talking back and forth about topics that we love. Like, that's why I wanted to do this. I love talking, and I love talking with my friends that we have similar like interest in. I think that makes for a good conversation. And maybe we went on a long tangent there, but it's whatever. I like doing this stuff. But we have some more topics, but we're gonna save them for next week.
Sure.
All right, because I put some notes together for us today, and we didn't get through them all. Okay, so next week we'll definitely get some.
My bad.
No, I love it, but we really enjoy doing this. We will definitely be consistent on this. All right, we will definitely be consistent on this. We need a logo. I think Doc's working on it. Well, I hope he's working on it because
way ahead of you, brother.
But yeah, so with all that being said, that's all we got for today. We appreciate anybody stopping by and giving this a listen, watching this video. Make sure you guys hit the like button. We'll be back next week. And make sure you guys go check out Doc's channel. I'll have it in the description below. And make sure you guys hit the sub button for this because it's going to be epic. So appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much. And we're out. Peace.
Peace. Later.